Strap in for the world's fastest half hour. You're on the Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Herbert and Marty Huff.
This is the Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for stopping by our half hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. Winner of 2 Funny Car Wallies in a row, Courtney Force, will be here. And quietly having a good year, top fuel finalist at Kansas, Terry McMillen, joins us as well. We're in the beams and set to launch another edition of the Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Straight Line on Drag Racing at MRN.com. My name is Marty Huff, normally joined to my left by the 4-time IHRA Top Fuel Champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner, Doug Herbert. He is still on honeymoon in Europe, and he will be back with us next week after the Route 66 JEGS NHRA Nationals at Chicagoland and also Route 66 Raceway. Speaking of which, coming up a little bit later, we talked about having Courtney Force. She will be here. Terry McMillen will also be here. And General Manager of Route 66 Raceway, Scott Paddock, will also join us to talk about what he has going on at Route 66 Raceway. It's going to be a huge weekend of drag racing. Not only is there a national event, but the JEGS All-Stars will also be there, and that's kind of the all-star event for all sportsman racers all across the country. All 7 divisions will be represented. That's going to be a really, really good time and full of drag racing all weekend long at Route 66. So that is all coming up in today's show. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the point standings heading into the JEGS Route 66 Nationals at Route 66 Raceway in Joliet. And well, there's a Pro Stock and Pro Stock motorcycle is coming up this weekend. Had a little bit of time off, and so good to see motorcycles back on the track. Eddie Krawick and Andrew Hines, obviously they are the cream of the crop and leading the way. But they're at number 3, Scotty Polachek, kind of the surprise guy. Coming in from Southern Oregon to race all these national events, and right now with one of the best bikes on the property when he shows up, Jerry Savoy, Angel Sampé, and Corey Reed right now, number 5 and number 9, Liberty Racing really is starting to get things together, and so they are going to be ones to watch this weekend. Angel has won at Chicagoland before, and so they're going to be ones to watch. The Aranas at 6 and 8, Hector Sr. at 6, Hector Jr. at 8, the first man to 200 miles an hour, Hector Arana Jr. at number 8. Ellie Tonglet missed a race, and he is still in the 7th slot. And Steve Johnson, really good for our buddy Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson has kind of been had a tough season. Had a deal with Jerry Savoy, then didn't have a deal with Jerry Savoy, so he had to pull the old bike back out. It's been kind of a tough season for Steve Johnson, but he has persevered, and good for him right now, finding himself 10th in points heading into the JEGS Route 66 NHRA Nationals coming up this weekend. And when we return, we will talk to the winner of 2 Funny Car wins in a row. Courtney Force will join us next.
When it comes to safety, nothing is more important than your vehicle's brakes. If it's hard to stop or you hear squealing or grinding noises during braking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find the brake parts you need from trusted brands like Brake Best and Brake Best Select at everyday low prices. Play it safe with brakes from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Grunt Style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
The NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series, the world's fastest motorsport, is returning to Chicago.
339 miles an hour.
NHRA's best top fuel dragster and funny car drivers are ready to face off at the Route 66 NHRA Nationals, May 31st through June 3rd at Route 66 Raceway in Joliet. General admission and reserve tickets are available for Friday Night on Fire, All-Star Saturday, and Championship Sunday. Get tickets early and save at Route66Raceway.com. Ignite your senses.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Huff.
Glad you can be here this afternoon on MRN.com and The Straight Line. And joining us on the Racing Electronics Hotline is the driver of the Advanced Auto Parts, Chevy Camaro. For old 16-timer himself, two-time winner, 2 in a row. Courtney Force joins us. Courtney, it's been so long. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, it's good to be back.
I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, obviously winning in Atlanta and then coming back and winning in Kansas, 2 in a row. On quite a roll right now. Last year, the performance was there. The wins weren't there. This year, the performance and the wins are there. What's the difference between 2017 and 2018?
Well, to be honest, we had a great thing going last year, and I think we kind of took everything that we learned from last year from number one qualifiers. The number one qualifiers we had last year was pretty incredible. We had a number of final rounds, but just stumbled a little bit trying to get that victory. So it feels pretty good coming out this year. I feel like we've had, again, quite a few number one qualifiers, and, I think we've now had 3 wins so far in the 2018 season for Advanced Auto Parts team. So it's been a really good start. I'm very fortunate I get to work with Brian Crotty and Dan Hood, who are tuning my race car right now. And every single guy on my team, they've just done a pretty incredible job, and it's been a lot of fun with them.
In retrospect, when we look back at the weekend, especially on Sunday, low ET with a 389, Beck's reaction time. We want to get to that here in a couple of minutes. Missed top speed by just a fraction. So it looks like you just went out there and just clubbed them all Sunday long. But let's go back to that first round and running Richard Townsend. You jump on the loud pedal, and then all of a sudden the thing goes up in smoke. What are you thinking at that point?
Yeah, well, that was kind of a crazy day because, you get up Sunday morning, you're ready to go racing, you're in the staging lanes at 11 a.m., and then they had to push the session back. We had to sit around all day until 7 p.m. because of rain. So it was a little bit different mindset, and then all of a sudden they say, to the lanes at 7 p.m., and now you're running a race in totally different conditions.
Right.
They dried the track. Like NHRA, the safety spot, everyone did a really great job getting that track ready to go for a night race for first round. But it was a lot of fun. But, it was, I think, a tricky racetrack for a lot of the teams. I stepped on the throttle, and immediately I had to start pedaling my race car down to the other end. So, that's on the throttle, off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle, on the throttle. Just to try to get that thing down there, keep it off the wall, keep it out of the other lane, and we were able to get around him and turn on our wind lights. So it was a crazy first round, but we got to get the job done.
So what are you doing for 7 hours while there's a rain delay at Topeka? I mean, it's not like you can just just leave the track and go shopping or something like that. And it would rain hard, and then it would kind of let up, and it looked like, well, maybe we're going to go racing at maybe at 2 o'clock, and then it starts raining again. What are you doing with yourself for 7 hours?
Yeah, well, it was you kind of wait. Everyone, you're with your team checking the weather, trying to figure out if it's hold on for, we're changing flights. We realized it was going to be a long day and possibly going to be running into Monday. So we did that, but also we were out there with all of our fans, obviously, at the ropes, but also the people in the hospitality tent, signing autographs for them, taking pictures, and trying to make it a little bit better experience for the people that are hanging out in the rain, trying to, hope for some racing as well. So it's a little bit crazy, you kind of sit around and just have to wait. And then once they kind of made the call that we were going to have to be getting ready, I was trying to get right back into my mental routine of, get into my lounge, get on my practice tree, get out there again with the fans and just try to get with the team and figure out how we were going to lay down some numbers in, completely different conditions.
So then you get through second round. NHRA calls it a night. You got to come back on a Monday, get through semifinals and JR tied, and then find out that you're racing your teammate, Robert Height. Now, I've asked you about how you approach racing your dad in a final, and he kind of likes to try to get in your head a little bit. I haven't asked you about racing Robert in a final. What is that like? Obviously, your teammate has been around a long time and right near your pit. So is there any gamesmanship going on?
No, it's completely different when I'm running Robert. He is kind of in his own zone. And so I didn't see him much before our round. And yes, he is a teammate, but at the same time, they've got one of the most competitive teams over there.
Yeah.
And, when he's got Jimmy Prock and the lights that Robert has, that you have to be, on your A game, ready to go. And we were, we were right there. We knew that they were going to give us a good run, and it was a great, I think, race for the fans, and it turned out to be a pretty good one for Paddock to be able to turn on a win line.
So when Robert can't win at the racetrack at Kansas, he comes home and he's the crew chief for his daughter, who gets her first junior dragster win. We got that tweet of the picture of just about the entire Force family at the racetrack Autumn's junior dragster, and so that had to have been pretty cool to know that Autumn got her first win and keeping more drag racing fresh through the family.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was bummed I wasn't able to be there. I was over in Indiana because my husband was running in the 500,
yeah.
But it was really exciting. They were sending me pictures all night. Autumn had texted me. I wished her luck right before the final round. It was just so excited. She came back, and I was getting all these calls and text messages from my sister Ashley, from my mom, from Autumn, saying that she had won her first event. My sister Adria had texted me. She was so excited because that's her, her daughter winning her first race.
Yeah.
And then Robert posted that photo, and it was really, really cool. I was really glad that my dad and everyone could be there with her through that, and it was. I think it was just exciting for our entire family. That was her first win. I told her that her aunts and I have not even ever won a race in junior dragster. We never competed in junior dragster, so we never had the opportunity. So I told her that's one trophy that we're never going to have. So it was really cool. Just a really proud moment for my niece, and she loves it. She does a really incredible job, and she gets hard on herself when she loses or when she red lights. But I think she's got a really great support system, obviously, with her dad, who is out there, Robert, and with my dad, her grandpa was out there with her as well, and really the whole gang. And then at the same time, my nephew Jacob was out there running junior dragsters at that same weekend for the first time. He's getting licensed, so it was a pretty overwhelming weekend.
And not so little. In the picture that we saw there, Autumn is just maybe 2 or 3 more inches and gets just about as tall as your sister Ashley. So, I mean, we remember Autumn as the little girl running around in the pits. That's not the case anymore.
I know. Yeah, not at all. She's grown up quite a bit. She's 13 now, and she's been running junior dragsters for a few years, trying to get out to the track as much as possible between Robert's NHRA schedule and looking for those off weekends for her to be able to go out there and run for juniors. So she's had a lot of fun. She's met a ton of friends over there, and it's really cool because there's a lot of other NHRA racers like Ron Capps, Anton Brown, and they have their kids involved in the sport and over in junior dragsters as well. So I think it's a lot of fun for her to see a lot of familiar faces, and I think it's fun for Robert and my dad as well to be out there and be around it and cheer her on.
You mentioned being ready and being on your game on the starting line. An 0.52 against Matt Hagan and an 0.36 against J.R. Todd, 2 of the best leavers in the game, and flat out leaving on them. obviously you're working on this. What are you doing to help improve your lights?
Well, I've been just, trying to push myself harder every weekend. I go through my ups and downs for sure. I think every driver does.
Yeah.
And I've been extremely frustrated at the start of the season with how, my performance has been. And, I've been on my Christmas tree in my lounge. I've been practicing a ton, and I was telling my, frustration to my crew chiefs. I don't know why it's not relating into my race car. I'm having really great ones in my lounge, when I'm practicing on it, but it just wasn't carrying over to my race car. So I've been working really hard, mentally and physically to try to figure out what the difference is there and try to get it right. And it was a great weekend. I'm hoping that I can continue that. I'm going to keep working at it, but I don't know if that 35 light or whatever it was, that one might have just been lucky because that's a little too close for comfort for me. But the 50s and the 70s I was extremely happy about, because if you want to be out here running against Matt Hagan and against Robert House, you've got to be on your game as a driver. Otherwise, you're just you're going to lose it for your team, and I do not want to let my team down. And so I push myself as hard as I possibly can to be better.
Winner of 2 in a row and headed to Chicago to try to make it 3 in a row. Driver of the Advanced Auto Parts Chevy Camaro for John Force Racing, Courtney Force, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on the win and good luck in Chicago.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to going to 4 in a row. So 4 races in a row, but hopefully 3 wins in a row. We'll see what we can do.
Thanks so much. Courtney Force joining us on the straight line, and when we return, we'll talk to one of the Midwest guys that's heading to a Midwest track, and Terry McMillen is on the phone, and he will join us next.
Things happen fast in racing, and if you don't know where to look, you can miss it all. With Legend from Racing Electronics, you'll never miss another moment. Legend gives you live fan vision video, in-car cameras, and stats at premier National Series events, and the next generation race scanner for unfiltered driver and crew audio at any motorsports event nationwide. Race fans have never been closer to the action. Welcome to the future of the fan experience. Learn more by visiting racingelectronics.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
O'Reilly.
Need auto parts but can't get to a store right now? Head to O'ReillyAuto.com. Buy your parts online and pick them up in any of the 5,000 O'Reilly Auto Parts stores nationwide. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup on your schedule. Shop your way at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, back to Marty Huff.
Big thanks to Courtney Force for joining us on the straight line, and joining us on the Racing Electronics hotline right now is the finalist at Kansas, and he is the driver of the Amalie Oil Top Fuel Dragster. Terry McMillen joins us. Terry, thanks for your time. We really appreciate it.
Hey, it's certainly good to be back on the show. How are you guys been?
Fantastic. Not as good as you. And I know the final wasn't exactly what you had planned, but the weekend as a whole at Kansas had to be really pleasing for you guys.
It really is. I mean, you go back to what I call our turning point, and that was Las Vegas when we were fortunate enough to win that race. And then, since then we've been holding our own. We've been in the last 4 races. We've been 3 final rounds, so that's a pretty good move for us.
Yeah, and normally we've seen you clawing, scratching just to try to get into that top 10. Got to make you feel real good to be right in the middle of things there, and seeing a lot of your closest competitors behind you in the point standings.
I think I'm still dreaming. I'm not really sure. It just seems that way.
Right.
because it's certainly never been that way. And we're just really fortunate. I mean, Rob Wellen and the entire team have done a fabulous job of just keeping the car going well and just doing their due diligence to incorporate a good running car that's going to stays real consistent. And one of our biggest goals is to go down the track 95% of the time, and we'll create our own opportunities. And thus far, we've been doing that.
Yeah, no question about that. You mentioned Rod Weblen, and he's a Kansas native, and it was mentioned a lot during the broadcast that probably besides Indy, that winning the Heartland Nationals would have been a big key for him, but he had to have been feeling really good about himself and your team going away from there, just because that's his home state.
Oh, absolutely. Him and Bob Peck, both their families are from there, so they were able to be part of the race weekend through the rain and all that, but they stuck it out and they hung in there, and they were able to watch the car go down the track, and they even came back on Monday just for the final. So, it was really, really good and exciting for them. Certainly wish we could have, brought the Wally home because it is just, it's always good to take care of the family and let them, embrace what you do for a living. And Rob does well.
You beat two of the big dogs to get to the finals in the Torrance cars, both of them, Billy Torrance and Steve Torrance. And, when you beat those two guys on any given weekend, that you've had a pretty good weekend. So when you looked at the ladder and saw that you may have two Torrance cars in a row, what were you thinking?
It's just another day,
Yeah.
Once you get past the first round or so, it's tough. It's just really tough even first round. But, it's either going to be the Torrances or it's going to be the Schumachers or Colettas. So we as independent teams have to go through somebody. And, so certainly while that the Torrance family, have been running unbelievable, even last year, look at all the wins that he had, Steve-O, and then, up until his misfortune of the crash. But you look at that and that they're a super strong team. And, so you have your work cut out for us. And Rob delivered. I mean, he put a car together that was going to be just going to go down that track no matter what we had to do. And we did that. And, we did our part on the tree. And, we were just fortunate enough to get the win.
Racing against your buddy Clay Milliken in the final. And I know that you probably talked a lot with him about racing each other in a national event final. Talk about that a little bit. And then second part of that question, did you have a 372 tune-up to beat Clay?
Yeah, I think that Clay and I have a lot in common. I mean, certainly we've raced back in the IHRA days together, same venue and things like that. So we've always had a pretty good friendship. And I think the things that certainly, even made it a little bit closer is when the passing of both of our sons. And I think, there then became even a bigger bond. And so it's always been something that we discussed coming together in the finals and, going out there. There wasn't going to be a loser. I mean, obviously we wanted to win, but, for both of us to get there for our kids, it was just the dream come true. And, unfortunately for Clay, it worked out to his advantage. But did we have a 372? Yeah, we really did. I can sit here and tell you that we can't run, 360s. We don't know how. But we should have been able to run a 372, I believe, and because the car is been there to do that, and we're just trying to, just had to pick it up a little bit in one area, and the area where it hit the tires wasn't the area. So it's just unfortunate, but we're going to get that day again. It's gonna present itself, and hopefully the outcome is different. But like I said, at the end of the day, he's just a good friend, and we share a lot of situations that are close to both of us.
Yeah. You mentioned being one of the independents out there running against the big dogs. And track prep rules are a little bit different nowadays. Does this hurt or help the independent teams?
I don't know that it really helps or hurts. I think I'll take that back. It does help. What I've learned on this is that with the track prep, the way it's been here lately, we have not tore up as many sets of tires. Before, you might get one run out of a set of tires, you might get two, but typically, very seldom would you get 3 because they're usually, pulling apart because of the glue up on the top half of the track. As far as all the issues, I guess, with it, I think we all have the same controls in our cars, controllers, boxes, for everybody that can go out there and make changes. Do we all want to run 335 miles an hour? Sure, but there's a cost with that, and that cost is something that we need to manage. And I think that while NHRA is doing, trying to find the best road to take right now to manage that and reduce, the speeds perhaps a little bit so that it's not as expensive, and we can bring more guys out like the Zizzos and all these other folks out there. I think it's a benefit. We need to continue to grow this sport. It's strong, and it's one of the strongest motorsports out there today. And I just I really would like, and I don't want to see it fall short because we don't have enough cars showing up to races.
Yeah, I understand that. And I'll get you out on this. Elkhart, Indiana guy. Chicago's not too far for you, so this is a bit of a home game for you, right?
It really is. I grew up in Chicago. I lived there for 19 years, so going back is going to be, extremely exciting, as it always is. And, we have a full slate of things to do, interviews, speaking engagements, dinners, all kinds of stuff. So we're looking forward to it. It's, and more important than that, we're looking for the opportunity to see if we can go 4 for 5, in the last 5 races. So, so we're just going to see if we can get to the finals, get it done, and, see how it goes from there.
Having a really great year, and we're so happy for you, Terry McMillen. Thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And go ahead and get that hometown Wally. That would be special, and we'll have you back next week.
Sounds great. I really appreciate it. And, again, great being on the show, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Terry McMillen, driver of the Amalie Oil Top Fuel Dragster, and headed to the JEGS Route 66 Nationals coming up this weekend. Speaking of which, we will talk to the general manager of Route 66 Raceway, Scott Paddock. Will join us next.
Save on your next oil change with 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high mileage motor oil and a MicroGuard filter on sale now for the same price as Castrol Conventional at $25.99. Plus, get a $5 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Improve engine performance with Castrol at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series, the world's fastest motorsport, is returning to Chicago.
339 miles an hour.
NHRA's best top fuel dragster and funny car drivers are ready to face off at the Route 66 NHRA Nationals, May 31st through June 3rd at Route 66 Raceway in Joliet. General admission and reserve tickets are available for Friday Night on Fire, All-Star Saturday, and Championship Sunday. Get tickets early and save at Route66Raceway.com. Ignite your senses.
Kyle Petty here. My friends at Click & Close, the official mortgage provider of NASCAR, have stepped up this year to support Victory Junction through the fastest lap of the race program on NASCAR radio. So join our team. Go to clickandclose.com/NASCAR today to donate $43 or more and help us give the gift of camp to children with serious medical conditions. That's clickandclose.com/NASCAR, and just look for the Victory Junction logo. Thanks to Click & Close and NASCAR Radio for their support this season.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, once again, here's Marty Huff.
Big thanks to Courtney Force and Chicago guy Terry McMillen for joining us, and all of our guests here on The Straight Line. Join us courtesy of the Racing Electronics Hotline. And speaking of which, joining us on that Racing Electronics Hotline is General Manager of Route 66 Raceway, getting ready for the JEGS Route 66 NHRA National. Scott Paddock joins us. Scott, you ready to go? I am.
We're ready to go, and you know what? We've got an absolutely phenomenal forecast for the weekend, so that's lifting everybody's spirits here in Joliet, Illinois.
That is awesome. Now, the date has slightly changed over the last couple of years, so you're a little bit earlier. So we wanted to get you on and just remind everybody, hey, if you're looking for that July date, that's no longer the case. We're going racing this weekend at Route 66.
We are, and we love this change, and judging from ticket sales, our fans love this change too, because our track has had a history, as you know, of being a very fast racetrack. In fact, a lot of national records set here throughout our 20-year history. And the fact that we're moving up in the calendar, I mean, we're going to be in the low 70s during the day, Friday and Saturday. So as the temperatures fall at night for those 2 sessions of night qualifying on Friday and Saturday night, lower humidity, the track is running terrific, and the track temperatures are ideal. I think we're going to see maybe history being made this weekend.
Yeah, 3 of my favorite words: Friday night qualifying, night of fire coming up.
That's right, and that's a fun night. You haven't lived until you've seen those header flames fired out of the engines of those top fuel dragsters. And, it's our 20th anniversary this year. We're thrilled to welcome Big Daddy Don Garlits. Yep. I'm sure all your listeners know that name. One of the pioneers of the sport. He's going to be out here celebrating with the fans that milestone anniversary. And, we love this facility. We're blessed to have it. And it was, as you know, the first true stadium of drag racing. And I think Antron Brown said it best when he was asked, what was it like the first time you came to Route 66? And he said, I imagined it was what it was like for the Roman gladiators when they came to battle in the Colosseum for the first time. He said that's the sense we got when we saw this masterpiece for the first time.
Now, not only is there an NHRA national event going on, but the JEGS All-Stars also for sportsman racing all over this country. They get to converge on Route 66 Raceway. Kind of give the fans a little bit of a taste of what this is like.
Well, it's an honor and a thrill for us to have them host their All-Star event here annually. I think they've been doing this now for more than a decade, so it speaks to their affinity for the facility. And as you know, sportsman racers, that's the foundation of the NHRA, and so they're the backbone of it, and that's what the sport is all about. And so for them to come here, and it's a milestone for them to be able to come here and compete on a national stage like this, and it's going to be a special day on Saturday.
Jam-packed weekend of racing, sportsmen, pros, everybody involved. So if we've whetted your appetite enough, Scott, how do they get tickets?
They can go onto our website at route66raceway.com or call 888-629-RACE, 888-629-RACE, or just come on out here. We're in Joliet, Illinois, and as I said, the weather forecast is picture perfect for this weekend.
Yeah, and it's a great time for maybe our NASCAR fans here on MRN.com that may not know. Route 66 Raceway is also right next door to Chicagoland Speedway. So if they've been to Chicagoland, they're going to the same facility, correct?
They are. It's right about a 5-iron away, or depending on how adept you are on the golf course. But we have a drag strip and a dirt track that comprise what we call Route 66 Raceway, and that was constructed about 3 years prior to the oval track at Chicagoland Speedway. And so between the 3 of the facilities, it keeps us busy pretty much all racing season long.
Scott, we wish you the best of luck this weekend at Route 66 and the JEGS Route 66 Nationals. We really appreciate your time, and good luck, and have fun. Be safe.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time.
Scott Paddock joining us, General Manager of Route 66 Raceway. And he was 100% right. If you've never been to Route 66, I highly recommend it, because the stadium, it is a true stadium. It's not really like most traditional drag strips where you're on one side, the other. It goes all the way around, and it's going to be a fun time. We'll see you next week here on The Straight Line.